Plans are progressing for payment of retroactive pension in November. This story and more in the national report.
I think I've decided. I want this one.
Excuse me. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. Can you tell me why it is you decided to purchase this fridge?
Sure, because it's a lot cheaper, looks good, and if I should say, does the same job as all the others.
I see. Can I show you something?
No problem.
See what the sign says? It said this appliance uses natural refrigerants.
So,
This refrigerator uses green cooling technology with natural refrigerant, which is environmentally friendly and does not hamper to the environment and the ozone layer. Equipments like these will greatly reduce your electricity bill, last longer, perform better, and protect the environment, and will give you the peace of mind in knowing that you are doing your part in creating a more environmentally responsible world for current and future generations.
so you're telling me that this fridge right here may cost a little more now, but I can save on my electricity bill? It will perform better and last longer than this other one and have all the things you just said?
Oh yeah.
Remember, when purchasing an AC or refrigerator for your home or business, be sure to ask for the one that uses natural refrigerants. Go green.
Let's beware, let's beware. Going green, you hear? So the ozone layer won't disappear. So let's go green, using natural refrigerants. Let's go green.
With the details to the news for Tuesday, 20th September 2022, I am Chrisanne Mitchell. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Mike Sylvester, says plans by the Deacon Mitchell-led administration to make retroactive pension payments in November are progressing. During an interview with Corporate Communications Officer Ruth Roberts, Sylvester said staffing is a continuous process, with the Pension Secretariat now functioning. The team is reviewing the list of pensioners and applications received for pension payments. He says they are making significant progress and payments are expected to be made on time by mid to late November as promised by Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell.
The Secretariat is established on Lucas Street there. That's close to Parliament building, that entrance there. And they have been, of course, on a regular basis responding to queries of and so on. The staff in there, they have been reviewing the list of pensioners and applications that they have been receiving. And from all indications, they have been making significant progress in terms of doing that. We would have, through the supplementary budget that was recently approved by the Finance Committee, would have provided for the payment of the pensions. And we expect that once the supplementary budget is approved by the Houses of Parliament, which is expected to be towards the end of this month and early October, we are then in a position to facilitate the payment by the 15th of November. And by the end of November, in the event that we have any delays or any other issues that would have delayed us. So I think we are well on the way to do that. I feel very confident that we can do so, and so it's in a good space.
A few weeks ago, Prime Minister Mitchell visited the newly opened Pension Secretariat, where he was updated on progress made on their operations. Grenada's Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell wants to transform the way we do business as a people, especially as it relates to the education and agricultural sectors. During a recent town hall meeting in New York, Prime Minister Mitchell spoke to the need to incorporate vocational education and skills training in the learning process. He says the current education system does not adequately prepare students for the reality of the world's economic state, pointing out that while Grenada is surrounded by water, there is still no formal training to prepare students for jobs in the aquamarine or boat building field. As such, the Grenadian leader says there must be a change to the modus operandi.
There is almost no reference in our education system to the ocean, to the sea, to our beaches, to our coral reef, to fishing, to preservation of our fish stock, to learning to fish, to the preservation of fish, to the processing of fish, or to the sale of fish. Our education system makes absolutely no reference to that issue. It makes no reference to boat building, to boat repairs, and the list goes on and on. That is the reality. You only learn to build a boat if you're from PT Martinique and CARICOM. Or from Gov, or Marian, or Subies. That's the truth. But if you're not from these villages, the likelihood that you learn how to build a boat or repair a boat is slim. It's either because you have an uncle or father or brother or someone who will pass that knowledge on. But our formal education system does not address that alone. And I make this point to say, it is not that difficult to transform Grenada. It is not that difficult to match our education system to the actual realities of what we face. But it seems over the last 30 or 35 years not to have been any political or leadership will to do so. But that stopped on the 24th of June 2022.
Touching on the subject of agriculture, Prime Minister Mitchell said a strategic approach that focuses on local consumption and production must be adopted. He said there must be collective willpower if this is to be realized.
Minister of Education, I believe there's about 10 to 20,000 students in the education system in Grenada. If you had a market of 10 to 20,000 people, your business will be successful. A simple thing, and I've used this example over and over. Policy decision that says each child must eat a banana a day would mean you'd have to produce 20,000 bananas a day. By 5 days a week, that's 100,000. That's 100,000 bananas a month. So we didn't need to export the bananas to England. But when we were prevented from doing so, we never focused on ourselves, and the banana industry died. But it's a simple industry to revive by simply saying, we will feed our own children with our food, and we will give them natural starch that are healthier by simply doing so. But it is not just the growing of the bananas. Someone has to pick them, someone has to store them, someone has to ensure they ripened, and then we have to have the distribution system that allows it to be distributed consistently at the schools. And I'm saying right there is a business model.
Grenada's Minister for Education, Honorable David Andrew, has outlined plans that he says will place emphasis on all levels of education and also taking into consideration students with special needs. Mr. Andrew, who addressed the recent town hall meeting in New York, says focus will be placed on education from early childhood through continuing education and will also include ICT in education.
We really want to focus education from early childhood through the mainstream right into adult and continuing education. Yeah? We do recognize that some areas have been left out, not fairly treated, and so we want to give meaningful attention right across. We want to put due emphasis in early childhood education. We know there are things we must do in the mainstream. We want to take care of our special needs populations. I know some people asked me about that last night. And we want to strengthen the support structures we have for them. And we also want to take care of adult and continuing education.
Minister Andrews also noted the intervention of ICT in the school system can help fill the gaps in the digital era. He outlined some of the plans the government has to fill those gaps in education through ICT.
The technologies are passing some of our adults by. So even when we move education, learning and online, our adults, many of them are not able to meaningfully cope and to support children, their children. And so we need to do some work there too. And that's part of the plan. When we look carefully at it, there's a lot more that needs to happen. the access, because when we looked at it, access was still a challenge for many. And then the ability to even to ensure that teachers were appropriately prepared and resourced to use those modalities, in some cases, proved to be a challenge, because we have senior teachers too who would need the extra push and the extra support. And then coming out of that, apart from just access, we need a learning management system, which I think we've fallen short on. A strong, a robust learning management system that will cater for content development, content upload, interactive activity, so that it broadens. If we tie that in with access, then we create a stronger platform for our students to be able to meaningfully benefit from ICT.
This is the National Report. The news will continue after the break.
Prepare for hurricane. Prepare for hurricane. Make sure you have your radio and your batteries too. Waterproof flashlight, candles will do. Tin stuff, garbage bag, first aid kit. Come on people, make sure you have it. Clean water in a container and a hurricane plan. Hear me no man.
Hurricane damage is beyond your control. Surviving the aftermath is up to you. Have a hurricane plan. It can save your life and your family too.
Prepare for hurricane. Your hair, prepare for hurricane.
Welcome back. Some encouraging news regarding the documents stored at the Grenada Public Library. As part of a major $15 million Digital Governance for Resilience World Bank funded ICT project, these documents will soon be digitized and preserved. Permanent Secretary with responsibility for education, Finley Jeffrey, explains.
This is the main project that will digitize all of government's records, whether it be at the registry, public library. I am pleased to announce that we have set in motion, really, the digitization of those records, especially those critical national records at the public library. So all national records of national importance, all these old magazines and so on that speaks to Grenadianism and so on, those things, we will be digitizing them. I think a contract will be issued very, very soon. I think the evaluation has already taken place, and so once that contract is issued, we have looked at space for the contractors to work, and we foresee that in the not too distant future, all those important records of the public library will be digitized and will be available in an electronic form for the public's consumption. And that, I think, is very, very important, and it's a gigantic step as we move forward.
Retired head librarian and Grenada's most experienced librarian at the Grenada Public Library, Lillian Sylvester, is expected to be re-engaged during this process.
We are hoping to engage Ms. Sylvester, who is really the guru in terms of librarian affairs in Grenada. And she would be able to give some direction on what we have, where are they, how many, and so on. So she will be able to provide that kind of guidance, experience guidance for the contractors as they work. But as it stands now, they sit at the public library. And then, of course, we need now to determine, after they have been digitized, what do we do with those physical records?
The permanent secretary added that Grenadians will also be engaged in the process, which he believes can be completed in roughly 6 months. With regard to the physical structure, Jeffrey said discussions are in progress.
The public should get some word very soon, because the Ministry of ICT and the Ministry of Education, which are the two ministries, incidentally, that I'm involved in, we would be, working towards this. Now, the physical library projects, this is something else, and I think A lot of evaluation would have to take place, evaluation of the building, determine what to do with the building as it is, if it can be restored, if it cannot. But what is important is that the government, when they were campaigning, libraries was high, and restoration of the libraries was very, very high on the educational agenda. So this is something that the public is looking forward to. This is something that I know the public would hold us accountable for. And this is something that I know discussions at the highest level have begun to see how this could be operationalized. So I am confident, and I look forward to the restoration in some form or the other of libraries in Grenada, so that people can have, or we can have our libraries back fully operational.
Based on information from the Grenada National Trust, the Grenada Public Library holds approximately 60,000 titles, including a large collection of newspapers, reports, and other documents. It is home to a large part of the National Archives and is the official repository of government and parliamentary records, which by law must be made available for public viewing. The Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture is accepting applications for the CARICOM Youth Ambassador Program. The program is open to Grenadians between 16 and 35 years with a demonstrable record of leadership. They must also be of sound moral probity and character, have a demonstrable track record of participation in community youth development programs, and have excellent knowledge of youth development best practices and policies, among others. 2 persons will be selected for this cohort, 1 male and 1 female. They will represent Grenadian youth by bringing relevant issues to the attention of policymakers and planners at the national, regional, and international levels. In addition, the ambassadors are required to organize and conduct social intervention sessions with young people across the island, conduct virtual and/or physical empowerment sessions and consultations in keeping with portfolio areas and the national youth policy, and provide analysis of national and international youth development trends, challenges, and opportunities. Acting Coordinator of Youth Development, Mr. Earl Williams, says the program acts as a strategy to promote youth advocacy and facilitate youth participation in the decision-making processes.
It is important because, one, it provides the young persons with a lot of exposure. Exposure in the sense that they are now going to be meeting with community groups. They are now going to be meeting with regional organizations, international organizations, local organizations at a level that they may not have been able to do before. It provides for an opportunity for travel. Again, you travel to get the experience of what it's like in other countries. You get the experience of understudying programs, projects in other countries. It also provides a platform for national debate where our young persons who are interested their voices can be heard through that national debate. It helps to strengthen you as a young person. It helps to strengthen your network as a young person. You're able to meet and greet with other persons regionally, locally, and even internationally. It strengthens your leadership skills. So these are some of the benefits.
Former CARICOM Youth Ambassador Jashawn Clark spoke to us about his experience.
It was definitely a very insightful and rewarding experience for me. I got the opportunity to serve my country and help the young people in Grenada, people like me and others who are disadvantaged youths, to better themselves and to assist their families in some way, whether that be by providing them with financial support or with food and other things that can assist them, like supplies, books, so on. So it was very rewarding to be able to serve my country in that way.
Interested persons should visit the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture's Facebook page to access the application form or apply online. The deadline for submission is 11:59 p.m. Friday, September 30th, 2022. For additional information, persons can call 440-6917 or email communications@youth.gov.gd. That story has brought us to the end of the National Report for today, Tuesday, 20th September 2022. On behalf of the entire news and production team here at the Government Information Service, I am Kristen Mitchell, saying thank you for joining us.